Good morning, YouTube family. Welcome to Happy Crappy Hour on Escape from Crazytown. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you might be. Glad that you are joining me today. I'm just going to correct this camera. Oh my goodness, you guys. I have so much to talk about today. My mind is just exploding. And I couldn't come up with one particular topic, and I did actually. So I did come up with this topic, but there are so many topics coming into my head. Oh my goodness, I don't even know where to begin. But I will begin with the topic I chose. So we will go with that. The narcissists will devour the new supply. And where I'm going with that is the hungry narcissist. Yes, narcissists are extremely hungry, right? And especially when they have been discarded or if they're coming out of a relationship. They are on the prowl and they are hungry. A lot of times they may already have a new supply. Most of the time they do. They already have a new supply they've been working on. But once they cut off their old supply, they become even hungrier for more attention because they're not getting attention from two now. They're getting attention only from one. So that's why I wanted to talk about that today, because when you look at a hungry narcissist and how they're treating the new supply, you then become more aware of when that's happening to you, because it may happen again to you where you get picked up as somebody's new supply. So be warned and be careful of that. And also, when the narcissist devours, your ex-narcissist devours their new supply, they may come back to you to get more food, I guess, right? You get more supply from you. So you have to be aware of that. Well, you guys, welcome to Escape from Crazytown. Very happy that you're here. Rissa Risk, good morning. Good to see you here. And, Happy Crappy Hour is about learning, right? Learning and moving forward and getting stronger and finding our joy again. So the crappies are what went wrong this week that we learn from, but also we realize that we're still susceptible, right? We want to know where we're still vulnerable. Now, and then we change that. So that's the crappy. We learn from what's happened this week that we don't want to repeat. We don't want to fall into that pit again. We don't want to fall into those traps. And the happies are the good things that happened this week that we want to repeat. We want to include it into our life. We want to repeat these things and make them a part of our life. So you guys, hey, I'm glad. Mr. Risk just responded. Good morning. That's so nice. Ashley, good to see you. Am I too late? No, you're not. You're right on time. We just started. Obi-Wan, good to see you. Says, good morning. Town Narc has me mad and tried screwing me. Okay. Yeah. That's the thing too. Narcissists will come back again and again and again to get supply, even if it's negative supply. They want that attention, and I don't know, they're just so obsessed, right? They're so obsessed with what's going on with other people, including their exes, you. They're so obsessed because they want to make sure they're doing better than you are. And if they feel like they're not doing better than you are, they're going to do what they can to bring you down to their level or below, right? And it's sad because narcissists, it would be better in this world if they would just move on, if they would improve themselves, if they would just take responsibility for their insecurities and their problems in their life and whatever causes the consequences that they don't like, right? But narcissists do not take responsibility. They don't see themselves as responsible for what's happening in their own life because they're always a victim. Anyway, you guys, I'm getting off into so many things because, like I said, so many things are popping into my head this morning about narcissists and the traps we fall into and their characteristics and their character, what makes them the way they are, their delusion. Oh my gosh, you guys. I had about 7 topics that I started writing down, and I was like, oh, I can't cover 7 topics, but I'll probably include parts of them into this talk today because I think it would be really helpful for us, uh, especially at this time where the world seems to be pretty much turned on its head. Everything is upside down, right? Right is wrong, wrong is right. There's a lot of delusion out there, and I'm not going to get into, you know, what side is right and what side is wrong. My point will always be, take a look at it, and if it doesn't seem right, if it seems like it's very destructive, if it seems very hateful, if it seems like people are celebrating when, you know, celebrating devastation, right? If they're celebrating the destruction of something, and I'm not talking about monuments, I'm just talking about if they're celebrating destroying their own world, destroying their own families, destroying their own relationships, it's like, wow, something is definitely wrong here. Anyway, guys, kind of got ahead of myself, moving on to the topic already, but I want to see what you guys are doing and who's hopping on. Jihad, good to see you. And Steffi B, good morning. Sandy Lee says, thank you for what you are doing. It is a new day, and with wisdom and discernment, I will not fall into any more traps. Yes, they want to make sure that they are doing better than everybody else. Absolutely. And that's why they're just obsessed. They cannot introspect and just work on themselves. They have to try to destroy other people. And that's why I wanted to talk about all of these topics today, because it seems to be rampant right now that people are just set on destroying themselves, right? Their own families, their own, I don't know, their own livelihood. They're just so obsessed with anger, and they feel like they're working on the side of justice, but they're not. That's the delusion. And the crazy thing is, these people aren't narcissists, right? But they're behaving just as destructively as narcissists do. So this has me really, you know, all the red flags are going off for me, because I've seen this. I've seen this in Crazytown. I've been raised in that Crazytown. And now I'm watching Crazytown being brought to the public square, where wrong is right, right is wrong, hate is love, love is hate, you know, and I'm just like, what the heck? This is the reasoning of narcissists, but not just narcissists, apparently, right? There is a characteristic of narcissism that is being carried on and carried through by a lot of people right now who are not narcissists. And that characteristic has to do with feelings, okay? When feelings become such a big part that it affects, and of course, your feelings are going to affect your thoughts. The problem is when those thoughts are fed by feelings, but feelings are being fed by misinformation, okay? So you could be looking at something and being misfed or misled, right? And your feelings are going to be conjured up from that lie or that deceit or that manipulation, which we have all gone through with narcissists, right? When you are in a relationship with a narcissist, they will conjure up feelings inside of you that are not warranted. For instance, jealousy. They will triangulate and try to make you feel jealous of someone that you really don't even have to be jealous of, because there's nothing there. But they're going to play it up as if, you know, this other person is so much better than you. Why can't you be like that person? I think that person is so much more handsome than you are, or why aren't you as successful as that person? And you start, instead of being mad at the narcissist, which is the accurate, the target, the real target, you start to get mad at the third person that they bring into your relationship. And it's not even physically into your relationship. They bring them in psychologically to stir up emotions in you so that you want to please the narcissist more, to try to change their mind or get their approval. You see where I'm going with this? So what's happening out there right now is emotion feelings are taking over people's minds. Their feelings are being fed by misinformation, by hate, by messages of destruction, by messages of uh, paranoia, right? Of that it's them against us, us against them. And the worst thing that I'm seeing through all of that is like people thinking that they're aligning up with like-minded people when actually they're aligning with their enemy because they have, you know, have you guys heard the saying, your my enemy's enemy is my friend? Well, here's the deal. Your enemy's enemy is likely your enemy as well because they are not interested in you. They're only interested in using you to get back at your enemy. So when you have a common enemy, you work together, right? Like two groups that never ever would have gotten along, don't have even the same morals, don't even have the same beliefs or values, and yet they'll gather together. They'll get together to fight a common enemy, only to find out that afterwards they've been used. And then one of them has been used more than the other. One of them is going to be more manipulated than the other. And then those two will then fight. I don't know if you know this, but back in World War II, America aligned itself with Russia. And Russia was communist. America is free market, supposedly, right? And um, so America and Russia did not even have the same foundation of thought or ideology or anything, and yet they came together. And Stalin was actually, he's the leader of Russia, and he was like a worse murderer, if you can imagine that, than Hitler. Yes, he killed even more people than Hitler killed. He executed 20 million of his own people, or I don't know if it's 20 million, but I know that 20 million men died in Russia during World War II. Might have been 11 million that he executed, and then 20 million in total throughout the whole war. But it's, we aligned with that. America aligned with that, and to get rid of Hitler. And yet here comes Stalin after the war. He starts taking over half of Europe. Like we promised him Poland and Hungary, and I can't remember all the other countries. We handed them over to Russia. And they were begging us, please don't hand us over to Russia, because they knew how oppressive and demented and horrid Stalin was. And he did go through and destroy them and executed them and genocide, everything. And we allowed that. That's how horrible it was, you guys. You see, when we thought the enemy of our enemy was our friend, and then look at it now. And for decades after that, Russia and America became mortal enemies. Now that Germany's out of the picture, then we become enemies, right? And it's just unending. So when you look at people aligning with people because based on emotion, based on manipulation, you just want to destroy a common enemy, so you hook up with another evil person or an evil cause, that's still evil, you guys. Don't do that. Anyway, I'm getting way off, but not quite, because narcissists do this. Narcissists will use people and each other, and they will gang up together because, you know, this, people have asked me, do narcissists get along with other narcissists? And the answer is no. They really don't. But they use each other because they are enemies, but they will come together to fight a common enemy. And that common enemy might be you, which then is really horrible, right? Because now you're getting it from both sides. These two crazy, demented narcissists who have no empathy, no sense of logic, and you're just like, what am I going to do? Here's the best thing you can do. You pull back, you pull away, and then you let them, when you are no longer fighting them, when you are no longer engaging with them, and you're backing out of the scene. I mean, some cases you may even have to move out of that town. And then those two narcissists are now faced with each other because you're no longer there. Germany's no longer there, right? Then they're faced with each other, and they're looking at the rest of the world like, well, I'm not going to let you take over my world, so I'm going to push you out. So then they become each other's enemy again. You guys, that is what happens. So as you watch, and narcissists allow narcissists to give them excuses, I guess is what you would say. Like they give allowances to the evil actions of their partner that they've partnered up with, right? So if their partner is behaving the way we see narcissists are when they're destructive, which is they have no empathy, they're illogical, they're only about destruction and killing and hatred and violence, and they don't, and they believe, and they'll say like, oh, we're doing this because we're fighting this really horrible force that's trying to take over um, my company or my neighborhood or my church, or we're fighting this person. And you may align yourself with that destructive, horrible person in order to, because you think there's somebody else that's horrible and somebody else that's causing all the problems. And once that person is gone, you realize, wow, all the problems are still here. What's up with that? It's because when you implement hatred, violence, destruction, just vengefulness, what do you call it? Jealousy. When you implement all of that, it does not create, it only destroys. So when you align yourself with someone who has those characteristics, they cannot create anything good out of that. They will only destroy and destroy and destroy. First, they'll destroy the person you perceive to be in your way, and then they'll destroy any other people who may have supported that person, or maybe the whole structure that that person created. Like maybe it's a church, maybe it's a club that you belong to, maybe it's an organization. They destroy that. And then if you're still aligned with this person, you'll see like, wait, there's nothing left. There's nothing here for us to take over because everything's been destroyed. Yes, that is the crazy town world of narcissists and the delusion that they live in. But back to why we're even talking about the narcissist devouring the new supply. A lot of times the new supply is their part of their fan club, part of their flying monkeys, and they select someone out of that group to be their right hand man or right hand woman, if you will, right? A lot of times it's their romantic partner as well. So they get all these benefits from the new supply. But the new supply comes alongside them and is now their partner in destroying a target, right? And a lot of times that target is you, because they have left you, or what, you wouldn't put up with their junk anymore, their lies, their deceit, their monkey branching. You just wouldn't put up with it anymore. They're cheating, and you kick them out, or at some point they see that they're not getting enough from you anymore and they leave. But they come up with this horrible story about how incredibly bad you are, right? They're going to come up with this crazy delusional story of how evil you were to them. Total lies, complete lies. But the new supply is not going to know that, right? The new supply is only going to hear their side of the story. And then anything that you do, the narcissist is going to twist to support their narrative. Okay, so say you block them. See, now the narcissist says, see, I told you, they're so unreasonable, they can't even be friends after a relationship. That's how narcissistic they are. You, right? They're talking about you. Or say they send you a gift and you send it back. And you're like, no, I don't want any part of this, because you're going no contact. They're like, see how ungrateful they are? This is how they were in our relationship. I couldn't give her or him anything because they were just so ungrateful. So anything that you do, they're going to twist to fit their narrative of how evil or horrible or abusive you were to them in the relationship. So the new supply is going to believe all of this. So again, the topic is the new supply is going to be devoured by the narcissist, because the narcissist already is devouring them, devouring their mind and their ability to discern truth from fiction. They're already devouring their mind. So this is how it starts. It starts with conjuring up feelings with the new supply. They get the new supply to feel sympathy. They get the new supply to fall in love with them. They get the new supply to connect and bond with them, right? They show them only the good side or the vulnerable side or the victim side, right? That they want to portray to the new supply. The new supply's mind is already starting to get devoured. Once the new supply starts having feelings of sympathy and protection and um, uh, even uh, why can't I think of this word? Even like the adoration for the narcissist, right? Because they're like, wow, you came out of all of that, you know, you're a survivor. They start to adore the narcissist. Now those feelings are going to affect their thoughts. Now their thoughts are not going to be able, are going to go down one road. And that one road is the narcissist is a good person. Their ex you is a bad person. And so their thoughts are now being laid brick by brick on false information. Do you see where I'm going with this? This is happening out in the real world in the town square now. But I'm going to keep this within our scope, which is what's within our circle of influence, okay? So within our life, within our world, we need to stay sane even when everything else around us is falling apart and people are falling for lies and people are falling for delusions and they're being deceived or manipulated. They cannot see it any more than the new supply can see it. They can't. They can't see it because they've already made an attachment to one side or one narrative. And they've made an attachment possibly to a group of people that they feel are the victims. So they're like, how can I be against a victim, right? What kind of a horrible monster would I be if I don't believe a victim? So the narcissist presents themselves or himself or herself as a victim. And so the new supply is like, well, I can't act like, well, did you do something that caused that? You know, you can't ask a narcissist or a victim that because that would make you seem like a freaking monster, right? Like, oh, whose side are you on that you would question the victim, right? But in this case, the victim is either delusional themselves because they're paranoid, and I'll go into that in another. Not all victims are narcissists, but narcissists do play the victim, okay? So this is going to be back and forth. Sometimes it's a narcissist that's playing you, and sometimes it's just somebody who has um, a victimhood mentality. So those who have a victimhood mentality, it's very hard to reach them because if you should question them, they're going to feel like you're this horrible, angry, mean, whatever, soulless person that is trying to destroy them along with everybody else who's been trying to hurt them and destroy them. And then that pain, you know, even though you're a great person, you help people, you love people, like your whole track record is you open your home to people, you feed the hungry, you're always volunteering, and you're like the kindest person, you know, out there. And yet, if you should question this victim, the person who's stuck in victimhood mode, or a narcissist who's playing a victim, if you should question that, then it doesn't matter anything at all that you've done before. You are now a monster. And that's how the narrative will go. And people who are falling into the delusion with these victims or these narcissists that are manipulating them, they don't know your past. They don't care to know your past. They just know the narcissist, and they know the narcissist version. So they are also going to pit you as their enemy because you're the narcissist enemy, you're the victim's enemy, so you are now their enemy as well. Because then that makes them feel good, like, oh, I'm standing up for a victim. I'm protecting a victim. So they're going to come against you. Oh my gosh, you guys, so deluded, right? But this is what I'm seeing. It is absolutely nutsoids out there. So here's the deal. I'm not saying that one side is a victim and the other side is the perpetrator out in the town square there. What I'm saying is stop and check your thoughts. Stop and check your feelings that are driving your thoughts. And if your feelings, okay, Feelings are based on whatever you're consuming, right? Whatever you're seeing, whatever you're listening to, whatever you're watching, right? Your feelings are going to be affected, all right? And if you're only listening to one side of the story, or if you're only, or what you're listening to um, is being portrayed as righteous and good, and yet it seems contradictory because the behavior is violent and horrible and angry and hateful, you have to step back. You don't just make excuses for the violent, angry, hateful behavior of the person that's telling you that they're good, that they're fighting for good. Okay, if they're fighting for good, let's see if what they're saying and how they're living and how they're treating other people matches up. Like even within their own little circle, let's see if it matches up. Because if it isn't matching up, but you want to believe what's coming out of their mouth, you want to believe what they're yelling about, you want to believe what they're so passionate about, well, watch their life. Watch and see how they treat other people around them. And that is what a lot of people forget to do, because then it takes a little extra work. It takes a little bit of extra attention, right? And time to pay attention to those things. You want to just take people's word for what they are, right? You want to believe them. You want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You don't want to believe that this person could possibly be manipulative or evil. And sometimes, and actually out in the town square there, they're not, a lot of them are not trying to be manipulative, not trying to be evil, but they're overrun by their feelings, which are based on something that's deceitful, manipulative, and flat out a lie, okay? Because it's a one-sided story that they want to tell. And don't get caught up in that. That's my whole thing is don't get caught up in that. The news supply gets caught up in that. The news supply is like their little foot soldier, will come right along them and will be like, yes, I'm going to support you. And especially if they're romantically involved, oh my gosh, then they have even more to lose if they come against the narcissist. The narcissist will double down on guilt and shame and manipulation of the news supply. So if the news supply should even question the narcissist, should even investigate, right, like their ex really is, the narcissist is going to blow up and act as if the news supply just committed some kind of treasonous act against them, right? Like just completely disloyal, and they'll pan the news supply and berate the news supply for essentially cheating by not believing the narcissist. It's just this total crazy manipulative game. The news supply has almost no chance. No chance. At least here's the good news. I love to tell you guys the good news, by the way. The good news is you're not the news supply. That is the best news ever. The good news is you are not being pulled into the psychotic delusion, destructive, hateful mode along with the narcissist. You are no longer on team narcissist, right? You may not even feel like you have a team because it's just you, but at least you're not on team narcissist. Team narcissist, by the way, does not come out unscathed. The team, will go down with the narcissist. The team will be used by the narcissist. The team will be affected and destroyed and hurt by the narcissist, and not just the narcissist, but the consequences of being aligned with the narcissist. Because as they take action under the delusion, perpetuated by this delusion the narcissist creates for them, like say the narcissist tells them that, their ex, you, is such a horrible person that they should go and slash your tires, right? Like you don't deserve to go around the town causing more havoc. So, not you, but the news supply decides, oh my gosh, they get so riled up with their emotions. They're going to come to your house and slash your tires. How dare, you think that you can get away with hurting the narcissist and then going around hurting other people. You know, they get so caught up in their emotions, their feelings, that their thoughts make them believe that all of this is real. So they go to your house, slash your tires, and then, you know, you catch them and you know who they are. They're the ones who go to jail or they have to pay a fine. They're the ones who get arrested, right? Not the narcissist. Because what are they going to tell the police? Oh, well, this person told me to slash their tires. Well, the police is going to be like, well, who made you do it? You did it. So, you know, just because someone tells you, they're not culpable, okay? You're the one who's responsible. So that's why Team Narcissist is always going to be destroyed. Team Narcissist, whoever aligns themselves with hatred, with violence, with, total destruction of innocent people, they're going to go down. And at first, it doesn't look like it. At first, it might look like, oh my gosh, they're able to pretty much bully and hold the whole town or neighborhood or church hostage, you know, by their delusions. You feel like, oh, I'm losing this because everybody in the church believes them, or synagogue, or whatever you might be coming from, or mosque, or, temple. The whole neighborhood believes them. The whole office believes them. And you feel like, Team Narcissist seems to be winning, but they don't win. What you do is you just pull back from all that drama, all that craziness, and you start working on you. You start building exactly just where you are, and you do your work, and you improve yourself, and you just continue to expand and bloom, and you're going to grow your world of sanity. Now, those who are going to be falling to the wayside from the Team Narcissist are going to see like, wow, there's like almost a sanctuary being built around you. They're going to want to come close to you and find out like, how do I get my sanity back? Because I just went through this total crazy town with Team Narcissist over there, and I totally believed it. And then until it started destroying me and making me into a person I didn't like or want to even look at in the mirror. So anyway, you guys, this is how the new supply also gets devoured, because the new supply has no place to go. They are the closest to the narcissist. And if other people, and so they have to keep up the mirage, they have to keep up the delusion with the narcissist to keep the team around them, right? They're going to convince themselves to not look at any red flags. They don't want to see the red flags, because the red flags will mean they have to address this issue or problem or contradiction. And if they address any contradiction in what the narcissist is setting up, then they're going to get kicked out. And the new supply is so close to the narcissist, they have the most to lose. Like Flying Monkeys and Fan Club, they still have their life. They're not as embroiled with the narcissist. They don't have as much to lose, and they could fall away from the narcissist. But the new supply, everything they have, their whole future, remember this fake future that the narcissist has created with them, they believe is true, they believe is real, like they're going to have this future with the narcissist. They have all of that to lose. When in reality, they never had it. That it's a fake future to begin with. The narcissist never was going to, build this beautiful life with them. But the narcissist was simply going to use them in this life, in the future, and they don't know that. They don't see it for what it really is. But they're going to come alongside the narcissist and fight tooth and nail with the narcissist, because they believe they have a lot to lose. They believe they have this fake future. Okay, to them, it's going to be they think it's a real future. They have that to lose. They may have children with the narcissist, and so they feel like they have that to lose as well. So they have to come alongside the narcissist. Otherwise, their family gets broken up, and they may lose custody to the narcissist. They may have a lot of money tied in with the narcissist. Like, maybe the new supply comes in to their relationship with the financial stability, the financial foundation, and the narcissist comes in and marries them, and now the narcissist, without a prenup, is entitled to half of everything they have. And so they have a lot to lose. Whereas the flying monkeys and the fan club are just on the periphery. Sometimes they go in and out, closer and farther away from the narcissist, but they are not financially intertwined. They're not emotionally, as in with children. They don't share children with the narcissist. They don't share anything physical with the narcissist. So they're able to get away less scathed than the new supply. So the new supply stays and gets devoured piece by piece and sometimes chunk by chunk until they just are so weakened they can't leave. They have lost their entire sense of discernment of right and wrong. They've lost their sense of strength, individuality. They don't even know who they are anymore because their whole identity was team narcissist, right? Their whole identity was whatever the narcissist directed them to believe and to do and to feel. And so they become this shell, and they can't even have the strength to walk away. And it's really sad because even their family members will come to them and say, look, I'll help you get away. You can stay at our place. You can we'll help you get a job. You can become independent from them. But the new supply will have been so gutted that they don't even know how to start and how to move away, because one word from the narcissist will pull them right back in. One manipulative word like, but I still love you, will pull them back in because they're that gutted. They have no they have no legs of their own to stand on. They can't even trust their mind. They can't trust what's real and what's fake, what's a truth and what's a lie, because they believed for so long all the paranoia that the narcissist enveloped them in. The narcissist envelops the new supply into their delusional world, their paranoia, their insecurity, and how they interpret everything around them to feed or to support their paranoia or their insecurity, right? And remember when I was telling you how the narcissist will twist any interaction between you and them, and then it's like their brain has to split in order for them to understand, like, wait, but I see your ex doing all these good things, and I see your ex, with friends, and I see your ex, treating your children well. I see your ex, happy and in love and in a healthy relationship, while the new supply is seeing themselves in this really awful, unhealthy, violent, terrible relationship with the narcissist. So their mind is split. They cannot even come back together and be whole. That's why I say the narcissist will devour the new supply. If the new supply does not get out before it gets to that point, it's almost impossible for them to get out. Well, you guys, I have talked for quite a bit, and I want to see your comments. Let me see if I can pull it up on my computer, actually. My computer has been kind of slow, so we'll see. Where? Oh yeah, okay, it's still slow. I'm just waiting for, oh, there it is. Oh, it's hard to see. Hello. Yeah. Hold on, you guys. Let me go up. Yeah. Ooh. Let me see, you guys. Oh, you know what I did not do earlier is set my do not disturb. There we go. Wow. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of really interesting comments. Let me go down a bit here. Modern Mariko, good to see you. Oh, you know what? I wonder if I have... Okay, hopefully this is the actual all the comments, because sometimes they only give me some of the comments, which is weird. They call it top comments instead of all the comments. Okay. So Rissa says, can you please give me some insight? It's been 2 weeks since the narc married. I see him wearing his wedding ring and seems happier. Well, it's only been 2 weeks. That's the thing, and I've talked about how narcissists can stay married for a lifetime. They really can. But it's going to be miserable inside that relationship. But the first few weeks might seem like, oh, all bliss. But even within the first few weeks, there are moments that they treat the new supply, their new spouse, really badly. But the new spouse is like, we've just been married for only 2 weeks. So they're going to hang in there, right? They're going to try to make it work. And while the new supply or the new spouse is trying to make this marriage work, because who the heck gets divorced after 2 weeks, right? Who the heck splits up after a month of being married? Apparently, some people do, but not very, like hardly ever. And to do that is kind of brings a spotlight on you, and people will question the new supply and wonder like, wow, what did you do? So they're trying to avoid that. They want to make things work. And because the new supply wants to make things work, they're going to appease the narcissist. The narcissist is going to be on cloud nine because they're like, wow, this is great because my new spouse is doing everything I want them to do, and I win every argument, and I get my way all the time. And that's because the new supply wants to make it work. They're trying their best to make it work, but they're miserable. And in that time, the narcissist actually is probably the best time for the narcissist because the new supply is coddling the narcissist, is going to try to make the narcissist happy so that their marriage will work. Okay? So, Rissa, the thing you do with that is you have to not watch because the only thing you're going to see is the happy side. You're only going to see the snapshots. If you've ever looked at people's photo albums, and a lot of times they're Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram, you're only going to see the highlights. Look at me, I'm doing all these wonderful things. Look at me, I'm having, coffee with friends. Look at me, I'm going on a vacation with, the guys or the girls, or look at me, we're going, we're whatever. There, if all you see is that, you're going to think, well, look at the narcissists. They're doing so well. They're so happy. So my advice to you is don't even look. You have to go into what you know about the narcissist. If you know what they're like, which you do, you've lived with them, you've had a relationship with them, you know how they manipulate, you know their bouts of anger, their bouts of jealousy, their paranoia, their insecurities that drove you nuts. They're doing the same thing to the new supply. But how do you capture that in a picture, right? You're not going to capture that in a picture. They're not going to post it on Facebook. You're not going to see that side. So just don't look. And, when I was telling you guys about feelings, feelings come from what we see and what we hear. So what we're allowing our eyes to see and what we're allowing our ears to hear. So if you're watching the narcissist, all you're going to see are their happy highlighted moments. So then the feelings that you're going to conjure up inside of you is this, oh my gosh, more insecurity. And you're going to think they're doing so much better and I'm doing so terribly. I'm by myself and they have somebody. You see how what you see is starting to eat away at your security, at your health, at your healing, at your joy. Be careful of that. And that's why you want to go no contact and no watching. Yeah, Tina C, good to see you. Sandy Lee. Let me see. Oh, I went back too far. Yeah, Tina C says, you look at the new supplies. I look at the new supplies profile and they look so in love. She has changed her profile to look a lot like mine. Makes me wonder if she's looking at mine. Probably. And part of that could be because your ex is is triangulating. It's probably telling her all the good things that you did, which they never told you while you were in the relationship with them. But they'll compare you to the new supply, try to get the new supply to do things for them. Like they even might make up stuff like, my ex always brought me coffee to bed every to the bed or whatever every morning, and would lay out my clothes for me and iron everything for me. Or if it's the other way around, it could be, um, my ex always was concerned about his looks, and he always worked out and he looked really good. They're trying to triangulate to try to get their current supply to do something that they want the supply to do. And if that's happening, the supply is going to watch your Facebook, and see if they can kind of mimic you. Yeah, crazy. Ashley says, yeah, oh my gosh, they really are the same. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Modern Mariko says, my narc ex-husband is now engaged to his mistress. We just got divorced. Yeah, and you know what? I just, maybe it's not nice that I laugh, but I kind of laugh at that because I'm like, seriously? Your your ex is going to bring himself into the relationship. So therefore, it's not going to be a perfect relationship. All the problems that your ex had, he still has. And now it's going to be in another relationship. So it just cracks me up when people are running from their problems by bringing new supply into their world. All they're doing is they're bringing their new supply into their problems. And so now the new supply is going to get the benefit, I guess, right, of all the problems the narcissist is going to bring into that relationship. Yeah. I like what Jihad says, Rissaris, regardless of what you see, these people don't change, and they want you to see certain things. It doesn't mean that it's reality. Yeah. Ashley says, they will pretend to be happy until the end of it. Yep, absolutely. Jihad says, Modern Mariko, congratulations on your divorce. Let's celebrate. And yes, that's the good news, you guys. I know it feels painful, and I know it's devastating because it's a loss. It's a loss of what you were supposed to have, what plans you had for your life. When a relationship fails or when it ends, it's a loss. I get that, and it is painful. But with a narcissist, it's actually gain. You gain something by losing them. You gain your life back. You are no longer a prisoner to their psychoses, right? You're no longer a prisoner to their hatred and their violence, or their condemnation and their guilt. You're no longer a prisoner to that. So suddenly it's like prison doors opening for you. And it's a little scary to leave, because you're so used to the prison, right? You don't know what's out there. But what's out there is far better than what was inside the prison. And it's so sad that a lot of times prisoners or people who've been in prison for a long time have a hard time on the outside. It's almost like people who've been at war. It's very hard for them to integrate back into normal society. And they almost want to go back to the war zone, where their relationships there made sense. There was a clear enemy. There was a clear, common friend, right? Their allies. There were, to them it was clear, but then in the real world it seems like less secure and less defined. But here's the deal with the real world. The real world is full of beauty that's there for you to explore and to find, discover. Yeah, it's not like, oh, you're limited by this, or allowed to be there, or you're only allowed to go in this direction or be in this place or that place. You can go anywhere you want. The world is amazing. You can meet people, and when you decide, like, well, that person and I don't really connect well, you can leave that relationship. You don't have to continue it on. Whereas in prison or in a war zone, you're pretty much stuck with whoever is there. I mean, it's not like you can leave and make new friends or new allies. Like, this is a horrible, depraved person. But in the real world, when you meet a horrible, depraved person, you can leave. You can walk on until you find other like minded people who are gentle hearted and kind and yet exuberant and full of life and can show you the beauty there is in life. You guys, it is so much better. Yeah. Tony says, it didn't take me long to realize he was my enemy. Yep. I also learned from her profile that he was seeing her 1 month before he started seeing me, and I guess comparing us, and he chose her. Oh my gosh, Tina, I did a video, I'm trying to remember. I think it was on triangulation. I'll post it to this video in that little eye icon. It takes like 24 hours before it'll actually post, but it's about narcissists and triangulation. And I use a real life story of this guy who was triangulating these two girls, two women, young women, who hated each other. They just, because he would flip and flop between the two of them, and they knew it, right? And he would tell each of them how much he loved each of them and didn't really care about the other one. And they each bought that story, they believed it. And in the end, what he did is he convinced one of them to help him. How do I say this and not get docked on my video? But to get rid of the first one, right? And the first one, he's convincing her, and actually he got her pregnant. He's convincing her that he's going to dump the second one, and the two of them will run off and have their beautiful, wonderful family and live happily ever after. And so he convinced her that they're going to get rid of girl number two, right? Woman number two. So he gets off the both of them in a car with him. And each of these women believes that they're about to get rid of, shoot, right, the other person. They drive out into the desert. I think it was in New Mexico. I don't remember. Arizona, I don't know. But into the desert, and he actually kills girl number one. And girl number two helps him, like, cover for it and everything. That's how demented the triangulation is and how dangerous the triangulation can get. And all through this time, all through the time leading up to it, or all the weeks and months that led up to this moment, both of these women thought that they were his true love. Both of them thought that. Yeah. Obi-Wan, you're right. Isn't that horrible? Horrible. Tony says, Tina C, thank you. Your lucky stars. He's gone. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it is maddening. Yeah. Yep. Modern Mariko says, know your worth. You deserve so much better. They are not worth your time, feelings, or heart. Yep. Oh my gosh, see? Tony validates this. Tony Wilson, good to see you, says, no doubt he used people to stalk and destroy my car 4 times. Yep. Yeah, because they get to believe in their head like you're some kind of crazy monster. And even if you are, what the heck does that have to do with the new supply, right? Like why, or the flying monkeys? It's not the flying monkeys' responsibility then to destroy your property. It's just crazy. Ashley says, they've been together for 1.5 years. She copies me, and they still have tried so hard to blackball me from my own music community in my town. I'm a musician. She isn't, but she's learning. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So, stay strong, keep doing your music, improve yourself, build up your relationships, strong ones, healthy ones. Work on yourself so that you can have healthy relationships, right? That means working on your insecurities and the things that wounded you and your triggers, so that you can have healthy relationships. The thing is, narcissists don't have healthy relationships, but they do have some loyal relationships. They're just not healthy, where both of them just end up in a ball of flames, and you don't want to be in that kind of relationship. Tony says they have no common sense or wisdom. Yeah. Tina C says, I know he chose her over me because she moved to our community and had no one but her hubby and kids. All my family's here. She depends on him. He's using her. Yep. They isolate. That's, in other videos. But one of the tactics for a narcissist to manipulate and control their new supply is they will isolate their new supply. Yeah. Ashley says they use each other. Yeah. Tony says, I had to move, so I'm sure his world imploded with his other woman or his other women. He can't get to me to hurt me anymore. That's great, Tony. That's really great. Like I said, when you are no longer in the picture, you're the new supply can't focus on hurting you to be on team narcissist, right? They're going to be faced with the crap that the narcissist has brought into their relationship. They're going to be now the target and the outlet for the narcissist's anger and frustrations and whatever, their insecurities and their triggers. And the new supply is going to be like, wait, what? Because all this anger is supposed to be directed at your ex. It's not supposed to be directed towards me. And that is the cycle, though, with narcissists. Yeah. My neighbor's out here. I guess talking to one of the dogs. His dogs. Tina says, I'm thinking now she's Narc too since she gave up her kids for him. You know what? That's part of the delusion. Sometimes it does look like the new supply is a narcissist because they become so self-focused and so focused on pleasing the narc and maybe pleasing themselves, right? Because the narc gave them this security. It's false security, but the narc has built them this beautiful fantasy world that they are willing to destroy everything else in their life and let go of everything else in their life that was good. Relationship with their parents, relationship with their children, abandon their spouse to be with the narcissist in the fantasy world. And that's the delusion that comes from what they're being fed. Remember what I talked about earlier? Whatever you're allowing into your ears, whatever you're allowing into your eyes, whatever you're devouring, it will affect your emotions. And then your emotions, once you start, your feelings, right? Once you start to build these feelings, even though they're based on fake things, even though they're built on deceit and manipulation and lies, the feelings feel extremely real, right? I mean, feelings are real. Now, what's causing them may not be real, right? And I have a video on that too. I think it's something about don't get caught in the narcissist delusion. And in the video, I have this girl who's got one of those artificial, what is that called? The artificial reality, vision things that they put over their eyes. And they'll have it'll look like they're on a roller coaster. If they're watching the screen that's right up against their eyes, they'll feel like they're actually on a roller coaster. And see, they'll feel it. They'll actually feel as if the drop happened when the roller coaster drops. Like that feeling, their heart will start to pump faster. They'll start to grip onto the chair they're on. They'll start to scream because the feelings are real. But what's causing the feelings is fake. Okay? So that's where we want to make sure that our feelings are based on something real, not something fake. And that's why it's really important to investigate, like, why am I feeling this way? What am I seeing or ingesting or listening to that's making me feel this way? Because you want to make sure that it's based on reality and not some delusion. The new supply, their feelings are based on delusion. And that's a really scary place to be. It's very destructive. Yeah, Ashley says, oh, my new supply person is an Narc too. And the reason I even talked about that is because their feelings are so real for the narcissist that they're willing to let go of reality, the real good things in their life, like their children, who love them. But to them, they don't feel like their children can love them as much as the narcissist loves them. And that's the lie they're going towards. They're going towards this lie that the narcissist can give them a more beautiful, loving world than their ex or their spouse and their children could give them. So they go towards the narcissist, only to find out they're walking into a nightmare, you guys. A nightmare. Yep. Yeah. Tony says, if you feel you're with a narc, get out and get away. Yes. Yeah. Uh, so funny. Funny when you guys use my analogies back in your comments. So Ashley says, we are free. I almost feel sorry for the new supply, but she's Russia. And then laughing face. Tina C says, I do better than I look at. Wait. Oh, you're doing better, but then you start to look at the new supplies profile and you get worked up again. Exactly. Whatever you're taking into your eyes, whatever you're allowing yourself to take in, visually, audibly, you are going to conjure up feelings. So here's the deal. Look at good things. Look at good things in your life. Look at, make some, what am I trying to say? Set some goals for yourself and look at the goals. Keep your eyes on those goals. And that's what's going to conjure up inside of you a feeling of accomplishment or purpose or worth, right? That's what you want to conjure up inside of you, those kinds of feelings. You don't want to conjure up feelings of jealousy, feelings of inadequacy, feelings of abandonment. Don't look at the narcissist. Don't get the new supply, because what you're looking at is pure fantasy. It's a delusion. It's an illusion. And then your feelings are going to feel very real, even though these are illusions of happiness over there. But you're going to hurt yourself by bringing in these really negative, destructive feelings, okay? Okay, you guys, I'm not sure that I'm going to get through all of these comments. There's so many. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, there's a lot of comments about how the new supply is copying the old supply, the X. Okay, Tony says, new supply is just as gullible as we were, and they will receive all the punishment they can't give us anymore. Exactly. I feel sorry for anyone he has met and will meet after me. Absolutely. I have another video where, people have asked, does the narcissist get better? Because, okay, normal people like you and I, we become better people as we progress from relationship to relationship, right? So the relationships I have now in my life are far better than the relationships I had as a teenager, okay? Or even someone in my 20s. So the relationships I have with people now are far better than the relationships I had when I was in my 20s. Because I didn't know what the heck I was doing in my 20s, honestly. You tend to be a little more self-focused. You tend to be, even though you're loving and kind and all of that, you're not as maybe there or engaged or present in those relationships. Now, I've evolved, with each new relationship, with each relationship that's lasted year after year after year. I've grown with those relationships, and I've become a better person. I've become more present in my interactions with people, and it only deepens the relationship. Whereas the narcissist doesn't progress and improve with age or with relationship. They actually, a lot of times, get worse. Especially through their 20s, 30s, 40s, I want to say even 50s and sometimes 60s, they get worse. But then they get tired, okay? It just happens. If they live that long, they get tired, just physically. So they may not be as violent as they used to be when they're by the time they're in their 60s or 70s, but they're probably just as acidic or just as toxic, verbally as they ever were. Or even if they get tired of that, they may just pull away from everybody and not have as much interaction anymore with people. Because, first of all, who the heck wants to be around that, right? So they're not as young and attractive and charismatic as they used to be, so they're not going to attract as many people. Yeah. Oh, well, good luck, Jihad. I will pray for success there and for completion. Jihad says, I've been in a process of divorce for 2 years and I'm still not finished because she keeps delaying court and doesn't sign the divorce papers. And I have court Tuesday. We'll be praying for Tuesday for success and for it to be finalized and for you to have favor. Yeah. Jihad says, hopefully that will be the last day and I finish this nightmare. Yep. Yep. Keep your head up, Jihad. You can do this and stay positive. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. Tony says they really believe they are good people. My ex told me so after all the abuse and cheating. They're delusional and crazy, broken, and I don't want to heal. Wait, broken and don't want to heal and change. Growth is not on their radar. Exactly. Jihad says, so when I finally finish, I'm throwing a big party. Yes, you should. Even if it's not a big party, it should be something meaningful for yourself, right? Something to celebrate, that you get to have your life back. And that celebrate the fact that you're no longer tied to that person. Yeah. Kathy, good to see you, says, the ex-narc tried to get me to be jealous of other girls. I always asked him, why is he trying to get me jealous? I told him I don't care, that it doesn't bother me at all. I'm sure he was so mad. Absolutely. Absolutely. Narcissists will try to, you know, poke at you and, at that jealous bone by complimenting other people in front of you. And then it's weird because it's not like a real compliment either. They'll say things that are just out of left field, out of nowhere. And you're like, what the heck was that? It's because they're trying to get your attention. They're trying to get you to get riled up and jealous because it makes them feel good if you're jealous for them, right? If you're jealous of somebody else because you want their attention, so that gives them worth. It's just a crazy game they play. Oh my gosh, this is so true too. Ashley says my ex is your ex narcissist, right? Goes to therapy and uses the jargon to further his agenda, like he's trying to be this good person. Yep, they do. They will use the therapist to give them tips on how to live and how to be and how to win people over and how to get along with others. And narcissists at their core haven't changed their motives, their motivations, right? They only change their manipulations, their tactics. They learn new tactics. And sadly, sometimes they learn it from the therapist. Tony says, I'm still dealing with stalking and violation of protection order cases over a year after I discarded him. I'm praying it will be over soon and I can completely move on. I had to move to another area. Oh, Tony, I hope that moving to a new area is protecting you. Gosh. There's got to be groups out there that have tips on what you can do and should do if you're being stalked. I'm sorry I don't have that information. I haven't actually had to deal with that. Usually the narcissist finally just gives up, but it depends on how obsessed they are with you, and that's the hard thing. And this is why it's beautiful for you when they get new supply, because when they get new supply, then they don't need to focus on you as much anymore. They don't have to be as obsessed with you. But if they don't get new supply, they stay obsessed with their ex. They stay obsessed with you, their old supply, until they find new supply. So pray for that. Well, I don't want to pray for them to be able to snatch another innocent person, but pray for something else will distract them. Yeah. Tony says to get out of his line of fire. Much more peaceful now. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. You moved to another area to get out of his line of fire. And so things are much more peaceful now. Oh, I'm so glad. So that worked. I'm glad. Yeah. Ashley, you're awesome. Giving hugs to everybody. I love that. Virtual hugs, but they're wonderful. Tony says, thank you. He made his own bed. He has to wear a GPS ankle monitor now while he's out on bond. Yikes. Ah, yep. Jihad says, my ex does the same thing as Ashley's ex, just to deceive the mediator and the court to make it look like she was abused and is healing and becoming better. Yeah, you know what? I was watching an interview with some criminals, right? And they said that they learn what they have to say to the parole board in order to get out, to make parole. So they learn what it is the parole board is listening for, right? In their testimony or their apology or whatever the input from the criminal, they will learn what to say to make it sound like they have remorse, they have changed, and that they're striving to become better, right? And anyway, yeah, and it's all a manipulation. Tina says she has a wonky eye too. It's always watching. Oh, geez. Yep. Tony says they will do whatever it takes to get attention and get you angry and emotional just to get supply from you. Yep. Now, our part is like be careful of what we get emotional about, like that it's based on truth and not based on a lie. So we don't want to look at an illusion or picture, fake picture of how happy they are and then come up with feelings of jealousy. You don't need to carry around feelings of jealousy. There's nothing to be jealous of. You know, ground yourself in reality. And the reality is your experience. What you already experienced with the narcissist, they are continuing with the new supply. Tina C says, I actually think they make a better couple. He's not really cute. I don't know why. I fell for him. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think I have another video. It was, let me see if I can get this right. It might be the one where it says, if the narcissist leaves, it's a blessing in disguise. Something like that. Because in the video, I talked about how after you leave, I think it was Tyler Perry actually who gave this really awesome advice in his show through a character, right, that he developed. And the advice was to a young man who, was distraught because his girlfriend dumped him. And Perry says to him, uh, you know, let her go, and one day you're going to look back and think to yourself, oh my gosh, how did I even why did I even want to have a relationship with that person? And that's the truth with narcissists. When you look back, you're like, what the heck was I thinking? Oh my gosh, when you are finally fully awake, that's what will happen for you. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, and I thought that was attractive. I thought that was the end all be all. I thought that was worth, losing friendships over. Oh my gosh, what was wrong with me? What was wrong was you were caught in a delusion. That same delusion that's devouring the new supply. It devoured you for a while, but you got out, and now you are rebuilding and you are getting a real life, a good life, a life that's based on reality, on love, on kindness, on goodness, on joy, on healthy relationships. Oh my gosh, so many good things, you guys. So many good things in life for us. Yeah. Wow. I am really far back in the comments, so I don't know. I may skip forward through some of these, so sorry if I don't catch your comments. Oh, while we're here and I'm looking through the comments, I want to ask, would you guys watch a video, or I'm sorry, watch a commercial now and again? Because that really helps my channel to keep going. I don't have a whole lot of subscribers, although I'm still gaining subscribers, so yay! Hopefully we'll continue to grow and get this message of love and kindness and goodness and reality and sanity out there, and also hope. This is what I want for us, is to spread hope and not just pain, right? Yes, we have pain, and I want to address that pain, and I want to help you guys get through that pain with real life situations or real life advice, things that you can implement. But I also want to give you guys hope that there's so many good things still left out there. And I know that because I am here. I am on this other side where life is good. Friendships are good. My relationship with my husband is fantastic. And actually, my friendships are also fantastic. Uh, I just love the people I meet now. I mean, the quality of relationships that I have now surpasses everything I've ever had uh, before the narcissists in my life. There have been narcissists that came into my life, and I thought that we had a deep friendship. I mean, these weren't, all romantic relationships. Um, one was romantic, and I want to say one. Other one was a friendship. And I thought that these were like really deep, really profound relationships, only to find out that they weren't. They were awful and destructive and mind bending. They kept me in a delusion. And it wasn't until I got out that I realized how destructive those relationships were to me and to my other relationships. It wasn't until I got out that I realized these relationships were holding me back from life, from living a full life, and from actually developing healthy relationships. So that's why I want to spread this message that, and I try to give real examples from my life and from watching crime shows. I mean, really, these crime shows, if you watch them, you'll be able to start picking out, oh my gosh, that's a not narcissistic characteristic right there. And either it'll be projection, it'll be delusion, it'll be the psychotic anger. Yeah, you'll see it in these videos or these crime. I'm not talking about the fake crime shows. I'm talking about the real ones, right, where real crime happens and they solve the mystery. One of the other reasons I like to watch them is because they solve the mystery, they solve the crime, and it's like, satisfaction, justice was served. Most of the time, justice was served in these shows. Yeah. Well, you guys, we are getting down to our last 10 minutes or so, and I'm going to try to get through some of these comments. So yeah, if you can watch a commercial once in a while, that would be great. If it's an extremely long commercial, watch like 30 seconds of it, or let 30 seconds of it play before you skip it, because that's what will generate a little bit of income for me. And it's not really income, it just kind of helps buy these flowers and this fruit that I put out for you guys. Um, and maybe a cup of coffee for myself, which is nice. So yeah, but mainly, my videos will then stay alive, and my channel will still be here so that more people will get the good news, right? Get good, healthy, hopeful help. Yeah. BB Scott, good to see you. Says narcs do get together. Psychopathic teams, even families full of narcs. Thus the golden child, scapegoat child, and forgotten child. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for bringing those examples up. Yep, yep. Yeah. Obi says, remember all the mean, nasty things you heard about the ex? When you were not the ex and there was an ex before you? Yeah. So imagine what they say about you. Yep. Absolutely, Obi. Yeah. I'm not quite sure what BB Scott you mean here, but the heater narc with the inverted or lesser narc pairing? Okay. Or the better? I don't know. Okay. Oh, greater narc, lesser narc. Okay, sorry. There was a typo there, huh? So the greater narc paired with the lesser narc. Yep. Narc and the borderline psychopath and the narc. Yep. Yep. They pair up. That's why team narcissist is crappy. It really is. There's no goodness in it at all. And they may be, cheering for each other for a time, but then they'll turn on each other. And oh my gosh, you guys, let me tell you what. That's what gives me hope too. And knowing that team narcissist or team toxic whatever turns on themselves. They just do. They turn on themselves. They turn on each other. So when you remove yourself as the target and they have no other target, they're going to start devouring each other. The narcissist will devour their own supply. It's just crazy, crazy. Yeah. BB says they seek empaths and other narcs. This is because of love bombing. The types that respond to love bombing are abused empaths and other narcs. Um, yeah, it could be, or just uh, people who also succumb to love bombing could also just have like an emptiness in their life. May not be that they were abused, but they just have a certain emptiness, and the narcissist comes in and fills that void with excitement and love and presence and attention, and they're like, "Whoa, this is great." Yeah. Yeah, Obi says, in the narc's eyes, it's live to love them. Yeah. They expect the others' purpose in life is to love them. Yeah. Nettie Bear, good to see you, says these narcs are not with new supply. They are all old supply that they deal with. They stay in past relationships with people that they never really knew them all the years they've been with them. Yeah, that's so weird to me, and it still continues that narcissists can have long-term relationships because if those people continue to see the narcissist as a victim, as a hero victim, how they've overcome all these terrible things, they'll stay with the narc. They, and the narc may not. Actually, the narc does turn on them, and it is unhealthy, but they just stay because they think that makes their relationship deeper somehow. What I've learned is that it doesn't take a toxic meltdown in a relationship for you to draw closer to someone. In fact, that toxic meltdown, based on illusion, delusion, and insecurity, things in people's past that triggers them. Um, that toxic meltdown that they have in a relationship just weakens the relationship. Honestly, it really does. It does not build up. But people will stay despite all of that because they're loyal or they feel sorry for the person, or they're, oh, I've invested, or they believe they've invested so much time that they just don't want to give up on this relationship, or let go of it. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why people stay, but it's not healthy. Not the reasons are not healthy reasons. Yeah. And that's why the relationships ultimately are just not healthy relationships. Can they have fun in the relationship? Can they still get something out of the relationship? Sure, because they probably have a symbiotic relationship where that means you get, each of you gets something from the other, right? The narcissist gets to have this loyal supply, and the supply maybe gets attention from the narcissist once in a while, a little love bombing once in a while, even though they get abused as well, but at least they get loyalty, or they get points, right, with the other friends by saying, I've had a relationship that was 15, we've known each other for 15 years. Oh, goody goody for you. So it makes them look like they have some kind of status or points, right, for that. So that's what the supply gets from the narcissist, and they'll stay. And I'm just like, but it's a disaster. Constant fighting, constant anger, constant backstabbing. No, thank you. I don't need those kinds of relationships. I am out of those. Yeah. Uh, oh, I see, BB. Yeah. That does happen too. That didn't happen to me though. I was never love bombed by a parent. Oh yeah. BB says when you are love bombed by a narc parent, and also I'm not quite sure what emotional incest is, and then discarded by the parent, this sets the pattern for other narcissists to come in. Yeah, but even if you didn't have that, narcissists do come into your life. I saw a narcissist. I mean, I just say that people prostituted themselves to the narcissist because the narcissist was successful, or at least appeared, right, had the image of success. So others wanted to be around the narcissist, probably to gain favor from the narcissist, right? They wanted the narcissist's approval. They wanted a pat on the back from the narcissist. They wanted, and the narcissist was very charming and very outgoing and very friendly. So they wanted to be counted as a friend of this narcissist. So, people essentially prostituted themselves to the narcissist. Not necessarily because they were abused by narcissists before, but they kind of feel like, oh, this person is upcoming and rising, and I want to be with somebody who's on the rise, and narcissists portray themselves that way, like they're on the rise and they're going to be meteoric, so come along with them, and that's very attractive to a lot of people. But the other side of that story though is that it's fake, and they were not on the rise. They got people to come along with them, and then they crash and burn. Yeah. So that's the sad reality of that story. Yeah. Well, you guys, we are wrapping up our time, and oh, Rissa says, I love this channel. I get excited when the alert comes on. Oh, yay! I'm so glad. So glad. Thank you. Um, yeah, Nettie Bear says they drag your name, but it's really their life they speak of. Yeah, that's the projection, right? Absolutely. I did another video on that as well, on how narcissists project. And I think it was this girl, oh, so crazy, blaming her parents for how horrible her choices were, right? She chose to be a prostitute, essentially, but she won't say that. Oh, it was a call girl, or no, a sugar baby. That's what it was. She chose the life of a sugar baby, which is essentially a prostitute, right? And then she blamed her parents for how that didn't work out. I'm like, what the heck? That's the projection. Yeah, she projected that her parents were terrible parents to her, I guess because they said no, and they had boundaries, and they wouldn't let her live her sugar baby life while she's in their house. They're like, if you're going to continue to be a sugar baby, then, which is a prostitute, you're not allowed to live here. Like, you have to stop doing that. And they're trying to protect her, but she projects that herself onto them because she herself is a bad mother. She's terrible to her little girl, but she doesn't see that. She only sees that her parents are terrible to her. Anyway, total twisted facts and twisted story to fit her narrative, and she would project onto them her bad mothering. Yeah, total craziness. Worships cats. Good to see you. Yeah. Says, this is so good. Feelings are being fed by misinformation. Absolutely. So be careful. That is my big warning today. Maybe I should do a whole video just titled that so people know to go to it. But your feelings may, they're real, okay? Feelings are real, but they could be fed, like Worship's Cat says, they could be fed by your misinformation. Your feelings could be based on total lies, right? I mean, people come out of that. Think about, that's what propaganda is, you guys. I've learned about propaganda, and I thought it was like just minimal and only in war-torn countries where they try to convince the country that's at war that the good guys are bad and the bad guys are good. And it turns out, no, propaganda comes in many forms. It actually is marketing. Marketing is propaganda. I took one class in marketing, and I learned so much from this. And this was quite a while ago, but marketing is trying to convince people to do things, essentially manipulate them to buy the product, right? So they, and not just buy the product, but maybe even buy the narrative. So they will put out, like, when they're candidates, like uh, government candidates, right, running for something, running for an office, they, whoever the newspaper favors, they will provide a picture of their candidate that they favor, light and bright and smiling, maybe even just having a very powerful look of, control, okay, even if they're not smiling. Now, the candidate that they don't support, they're going to have this like smirky look, or this darker, they'll put a filter that makes it slightly darker than the other one. They'll have this facial expression that most people will not like, either of smirking or frowning or arrogance, yeah, or anger. Yeah, that's how that's how obvious it is. So since that one class that I took, whenever I see stories in the news, I keep that in mind. And also, they'll repeat a lie multiple times. And we've heard this before. A lie that's repeated multiple times then starts to become believable, right? People start to believe it because it's just repeated so many times. Anyway, I look at all of these things as manipulation, and they're manipulating your feelings. Now, if your feelings are coming from that, like, oh, I really like this person and I don't know why. Well, it's because you've been manipulated, okay? If you don't know why you like somebody, it's because you've been manipulated to like them. And if you like somebody despite all the, little clues coming out about them that you see, red flags, but the propaganda doesn't want you to see that, right? So they'll downplay all of that. You'll have to question, like, how come they're not reporting on that? I don't understand. So when there are little red flags like that, that should wake you up to, are my feelings based on something real, or is it based on something I'm being manipulated to feel? Okay, so that's my little warning to you guys. And the main thing is, if you're being manipulated to hate and to the point of death, I mean, just, that's horrible, by the way. You don't wish death on anybody. That is horrible, horrible. Don't do that. I know we've all been hurt, and there may have been times that we did wish that. But then you wake up and you realize, wow, that was dark, and I don't want to be there, and I don't want to stay there, because that drags you down. It drags you and everything around you down. It drags down your whole life. So why stay there, right, you guys? Wow, I'm going on to a whole new subject, and we are at the end of our hour and a half. But you know what? Come back next week, and we're going to talk some more about this. Yeah, so much to talk about, you guys. Many blessings to you. Watch a commercial once in a while, subscribe, share my videos, and maybe even share some of my speaking points with people who need it, right? We all know some people who are just out of touch and maybe in pain, right? Share some of these with them. I hope that you can help others as you've been helped, and you're going to feel great when that happens. We're going to heal this world one person at a time, and maybe 10 people at a time, right? That'd be awesome. Many blessings to you. I will see you next week. Keep your chin up. Be hopeful. Focus on the things that are good, all right? I mean, don't be oblivious to bad that's happening, but don't let that change you into something you're not, or don't let it manipulate you into something you're not, okay? Check your feelings and make sure they're based on reality and not somebody's version or narrative or a lie. Okay, you guys, I love you guys. I'll be praying for you guys. I bless all of you guys every time I do a video, I say a blessing over your names, and I wish you so much good karma. Many, many blessings, and I will see you next week.